Principles Show daily podcast by and for you.
All right, so today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. Brazil's about to take the reins of BRICS in 2025.
Oh, this should be good.
Yeah, and BRICS, right. This group of major emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
A real powerhouse.
Exactly. And we've got this report directly from the BRICS website outlining Brazil's plans for their leadership. And well, let's just say I'm seeing some potential fireworks already.
Oh, really? Spill the tea.
Well, they're aiming to tackle climate change, for one. And then there's the whole AI regulation thing. They want to wrangle that. And get this, they're even talking about expanding BRICS membership.
Well, hold on. That's a lot to unpack. We're talking some serious global
Oh,
impact.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is going to be a wild ride. So let's dive in.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so first things first. One thing that really jumps out is how Brazil is like weaving its own national agenda into its BRICS leadership,
Yeah, I see that. It's like they're using this platform to push their own priorities, which, fair play.
Right. For example, they're hosting the UN Climate Change Conference this year,
Yeah.
Top 30. It's in Belém, Brazil. And guess what's at the top of their list of BRICS priorities?
Climate change, I'm guessing.
Bingo. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
The report also points out how a bunch of BRICS nations are actually some of the top greenhouse gas emitters, especially when you look at their energy sectors. So how do we square that circle?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, right? I mean, these countries have a huge responsibility to address climate change. But at the same time, they're often relying on the very industries that are driving the problem.
It's like a catch-22.
Exactly. It's not just about each country cleaning up its own act. It's about them working together to change how we produce and consume energy globally. It's a systemic issue.
That makes total sense. But, it also feels like there's potential for conflict brewing. Right. I mean, think about Russia's dependence on fossil fuel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Can they really get on board with a radical climate agenda?
That's the million-dollar question. Brazil's walking a tightrope here. They need to find common ground while also pushing for ambitious goals.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much they can actually achieve, considering the diverse and sometimes conflicting interests within BRICS. It's a delicate balancing act.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about something that really caught my eye, AI regulation.
Oh, yeah, that's a hot topic right now.
It feels like everyone's rushing to develop AI, but there's no rule book, no global referee.
You're hitting on a crucial point. This lack of global governance in AI is a huge concern, and Brazil seems to get that. They're pushing for BRICS to present a united front on AI regulation.
It's a bold move, for sure.
Yeah.
But do you think they can pull it off? I mean, BRICS is exactly known for being a monolith when it comes to policy decisions.
Right. That's what makes this so interesting. You've got China, a leader in AI development, potentially butting heads with India, which has expressed concerns about AI's impact on jobs. How Brazil navigates these internal differences while trying to project a unified message to the world. Well, it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Speaking of internal differences, the report mentions this whole idea of expanding BRICS. They're talking about creating a new category of partner countries. What's the strategy there?
It's like broadening their sphere of influence without totally restructuring the core membership. Adding partner countries could boost cooperation on everything from trade and tech to climate initiatives. It's a way to flex their collective muscle on the global stage,
Yeah, I get that. But wouldn't that risk diluting their core message and making it harder to reach consensus?
Oh, absolutely. That's the trade-off. More voices means more perspectives, but also more potential for disagreement. The question is, can Brazil steer this expansion in a way that strengthens BRICS rather than fracturing it? It's a high-stakes game.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay, so last but not least, there's this visual element that really jumped out at me from the report. The 2025 BRICS logo features a sumauma tree.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Right. It's this massive, majestic tree found in the Amazon. And it's not just a random design choice, is it?
Not at all. The sumauma holds deep cultural significance, especially for indigenous communities in the Amazon. It's seen as a symbol of resilience, interconnection, even wisdom. By featuring it in the logo, Brazil is making a statement. They're connecting BRICS to themes of sustainability, cultural heritage, and a more holistic approach to development.
It's a powerful image. But I'm wondering, is it also a way to try and soften BRICS' image? Let's be honest, some people see BRICS as a potential threat to the existing world order. Could this symbolism be a way to counter that narrative?
That's an interesting take. It's possible they're trying to present a more palatable image to the global community. Highlighting shared values and cultural touchstones might be a way to build bridges and dispel anxieties about their growing influence.
It makes you wonder, though, how that message will resonate with different audiences. Will everyone interpret the Sumo Uuma symbolism the same way?
That's the beauty of symbolism. It's open to interpretation. Some might see it as a genuine expression of BRICS values, while others might view it as a carefully crafted PR move. Only time will tell how it's ultimately perceived.
So we've got Brazil taking the lead with a focus on climate change, AI regulation, and expanding BRICS reach, all while weaving in this powerful symbolism. It definitely feels like they're trying to redefine what BRICS stands for on the global stage. But the real question is, can they deliver?
And that's what we're going to dig into next. We'll explore the specific challenges and opportunities facing Brazil's leadership and what it all means for the future of BRICS and the global landscape. Buckle up, because this deep dive is just getting started.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, hey, world, we're not just an economic force, we're a force for positive change. But the question is, will the rest of the world buy into that vision,
Right. And speaking of buy-in, the report dances around this whole expansion thing, mentioning a new category of partner countries. But it doesn't really name names. So who are we actually talking about here?
Well, it's a bit of a guessing game at this point.
Yeah.
But there are some strong contenders, like Indonesia, for example. Their economy is booming. They've got that strategic location in Southeast Asia. Makes them a pretty attractive candidate.
Okay, Indonesia makes sense. And then you've got Turkey. They're kind of straddling Europe and the Middle East, and they've been pretty vocal about wanting a bigger role on the world stage. So BRICS could be their ticket.
Yeah, I could see that. And what about Mexico? With their close ties to the U.S., wouldn't that be a game changer for BRICS in the Americas?
Oh, for sure. Mexico could definitely shake things up. Plus, they've got a lot to offer in terms of resources and industrial capacity. They'd be a valuable addition to the group.
Okay, so we've got Indonesia, Turkey, Mexico. That's already a pretty diverse mix. But the report also hints at some even more controversial potential partners, like Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now, that would really throw a wrench in the works, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Talk about geopolitical implications. Bringing in rivals like Iran and Saudi Arabia could totally transform BRICS. I mean, it could become a major force for conflict resolution. Or, on the flip side, it could amplify existing tensions.
It's a high-stakes game for sure. So what's motivating these countries to even consider joining the BRICS party?
Well, I think it's a mix of factors. For some, it's purely economic. BRICS represents a huge chunk of the global economy, right? And membership could unlock access to new markets, investment opportunities, even alternative financial systems that bypass Western-dominated institutions. It's a way to diversify their economic portfolio.
It's like a way to hedge their bets in an increasingly multipolar world.
Exactly. But for others, it's about more than just money. It's about political clout. BRICS offers a platform for countries that feel sidelined by the existing global institutions, like the G7, for example. It's a way to challenge the status quo and push for a more equitable global order, one where their voices are actually heard.
So a seat at the table where the rules of the game are being rewritten.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about how Brazil actually plans to steer this massive ship. The report touches on some concrete plans, right?
Yeah, they've outlined 3 key areas they want to focus on. First, strengthening internal bonds within BRICS. Think boosting trade, coordinating investment strategies, fostering tech collaboration. It's about building a more cohesive and interconnected economic bloc, stronger together kind of thing.
Solidarity is key, especially if they want to project a united front to the world.
Exactly. Second, they're aiming to beef up the new development bank, the BRICS Bank. This is all about providing an alternative to Western-led financial institutions. Think funding major infrastructure projects, green energy initiatives, development programs across member countries. It's about having their own financial resources and not being beholden to the traditional power players.
It's like they're saying, hey, we've got our own resources, our own vision for development, and we don't need to play by your rules.
Exactly. And finally, they're emphasizing the importance of people-to-people connections. Think student exchanges, cultural collaborations, joint research projects. It's about building bridges beyond the political and economic spheres, fostering a sense of shared identity and purpose among BRICS nations.
So it's not just about top-down policies. It's about building relationships at the grassroots level.
Right. It's about recognizing that cooperation and understanding can flourish even amidst political and economic differences. It's a long-term strategy for building a more stable and interconnected world. Hopefully.
It's a hopeful vision for sure. But we've got to ask, is all this just rhetoric? Or can they actually pull it off?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, there's so many potential hurdles, internal disagreements, external pressures, geopolitical rivalries. Can Brazil navigate these complexities and truly deliver on its promises? It's going to be a fascinating ride to watch this unfold.
Speaking of unfolding, we've got a whole world of potential new members to explore. The report mentions a few specific countries that have expressed interest in joining the BRICS fold. So let's get specific here. Who are some of these countries knocking on the BRICS door, and what might their membership bring to the table?
Well, one that's been making a pretty strong case is Algeria.
Algeria.
Okay. Yeah. They're a major player in North Africa, significant energy resources, growing economy. Their inclusion could really boost BRICS' influence in a region that's often overlooked in global power dynamics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. And what about Argentina? I've heard their name thrown around too. They've been facing some economic challenges lately, so I imagine BRICS membership might look pretty appealing to them.
Oh, absolutely. Argentina has a lot to offer agriculturally, industrially. Joining BRICS could give them access to new markets, investment opportunities, potentially help them stabilize their economy.
Makes sense. But wouldn't bringing in a country with a shaky economy like that pose a risk to BRICS? Couldn't it drag down the whole group?
Yeah, that's a valid concern for sure.
Yeah.
BRICS would need to carefully weigh the potential benefits against the risks. Consider whether Argentina's economic woes could become a liability or if their membership presents an opportunity for BRICS to demonstrate its commitment to supporting struggling economies. It's a tough call.
Yeah, it is. And then there's the wild card Iran. They've expressed interest in joining BRICS, but their inclusion would be incredibly controversial, wouldn't it?
To put it mildly, Iran is a geopolitical hot potato sanctions, tense relationship with the West. Their inclusion in BRICS could really inflame tensions with the U.S.
Yeah, I can see that. It's hard to imagine them getting a unanimous thumbs up from the existing BRICS members. Some of them have close ties with the U.S., and others have their own complex relationships with Iran.
Exactly. It would be a huge gamble for BRICS to bring Iran into the fold, but it's a gamble that could pay off big time if they can pull it off. Imagine the message it would send to the world: BRICS, willing to challenge the status quo and forge its own path, even if it means ruffling some feathers.
It would definitely make a statement.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got this fascinating mix of potential new members, each bringing their own baggage and opportunities to the table. What does this all mean for the future of BRICS? Where do you see this all heading?
Well, one thing's for sure, BRICS is at a crossroads. Brazil's leadership is pushing for a bolder, more ambitious agenda. They're trying to redefine what it means to be a global power player. It's not just about economic clout anymore. It's about values, sustainability, a multipolar world order where emerging economies have a greater say.
It's about reshaping the global landscape.
Exactly. But the big question is, can they pull it off? Can they navigate the internal divisions, the external pressures, the geopolitical landmines to achieve their vision? Only time will tell.
It's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold. We've covered a lot of ground today, from Brazil's ambitious plans to the potential impact of new members. What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that BRICS is no longer just an acronym for a group of emerging economies. It's a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of a changing world order, one where power is shifting away from the traditional centers and towards a more multipolar landscape.
And that shift is happening right before our eyes. Brazil's leadership of BRICS is just one piece of that larger puzzle.
Right. And it's a puzzle worth paying close attention to. The decisions BRICS makes, the partnerships it forges, the challenges it faces, they'll have ripple effects across the globe.
So here's a thought-provoking question for everyone listening out there. As BRICS expands and its influence grows, how might this impact your life, your job, your community? The world is becoming increasingly interconnected, and the decisions made by these global power players will have a tangible impact on all of us. It's something to consider.
It is. And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, keep those brains buzzing. Because in a world of constant change and complexity, understanding these global dynamics is more important than ever.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, stay curious.